Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a 6 cents for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chain. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see.
We've got to raise the bar, and we've got to continue to raise the bar. I don't think any of those young men, when they signed to come to Tennessee, they signed to say they wanted to come and be a part of a 7-6 program. They said they wanted to come and compete for championships, SEC championships, national championships. I know that's what I want. I know that's what Tennessee wants. I know that's what the expectation is. So we've got to continue to reassess everything that we're doing and make sure that we're continuing to move the needle in the right direction.
It was very casual. We were just kind of walking off the field, and he was like, "So what you gonna do?" I said, "I'm gonna come back next year." He was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'm excited. Let's go to Atlanta." And I was like, "Yes, sir. Let's make it happen."
99% of the people in this world want to be great. Would you agree with that? Yeah, they're called wannabes. 1% work to be great. Drop the mic on that.
There out on the field, the pride of the Southland band crisply marches into the Giant T. The rear, the roar of 97,000 fans rises with each rhythmic step. In the background, George Beatsis is singing "Fight, Balls, Fight." The orange and white Shakers flood the air. The Volunteers are ready at the north end of the football field to burst through the gate. They're coming now, racing onto the field through the Giant T. In that magic moment that says, wherever you are, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. The morning show is back. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Xavier, X Factor.
Let's do it, man. The stage is set. It's Gator Hater Week. It's time to spend every single day on the internet talking about this football game. Number 11 Tennessee versus number 20 Florida. You've got game day on hand. We're going to checker Neyland. Sold out to capacity. Neyland's going to be rocking on Saturday, Xavier. This is the game you've had circled on the calendar for months. How excited are you about this football game?
I'm very excited. Listen, it is time. I'm tired of being owned by the Gators for the past 15 out of 16 years or how long it's been. Like saying, look, it is time. It's time for the Vols to rise up and to change this rivalry. Time to change it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at history. Tennessee's won once since 2005. One game out of the last 17. And I feel like this is a turning point for this program. Look, battered Vol syndrome is real. When you look at this football game on paper, when you look at the analytics, when you look at the numbers, you look at the ESPN FPI, Tennessee's favored by almost 10 points by Vegas. Vegas knows a little something about football. You don't get favored against the Gators for no reason. When you look at it on paper, Tennessee should win this football game. But like I said, they've won one time since 2005. Xavier, do you know when that was? Do you know when that one time was? It was 2016. Let me educate you a little bit. Let me tell you something you already know. 2016 was the last time Tennessee started 3-0. They ended up starting that season 5-0. You know what else happened in 2016? We checkered Neyland. You know what else happened in 2016? Smoky Grays. Let's go ahead and rock those Smoky Grays on Saturday. Let's repeat history. Let's go back and let's, like you said, it feels like a turning point for this program. This game on Saturday is so big, not just for the players, not just for the coaches, not just for the program, but for us, the fans. Huge.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, and 2016 is that. Yeah, like I said, I'll never forget it. Like I said, I was working at my previous job, and I wanted to go to that game so badly, and I was just watching it at my job. And at first, they were just killing us in the first half, and I was like, no, I was like, are we really going to keep doing this every year? And then I don't know what Butch Jones said to those guys in the locker room that year, but those guys came out and they were fired up, and you see the results of what happened at the end of that game. So I'm thinking that Josh Heupel and this team, like I said, they know the history of the rivalry of this program. So I really believe that those guys are going to get fired up this coming Saturday, and they're going to try to go out there and get the dub.
Huge game coming up, man. I went to that game in 2016 with Dauber, and it's just immediate flashbacks to being so angry in that first half, and then so happy in that second half. But let's run down the chat. Like I said, the morning show is back. Took a break last week. It is what it is, guys. Like I told you, you guys like these morning shows, so I want to give you as many as possible. I'm going to use that vacation time to come hang out with you guys on Monday mornings. Try to keep it rolling. Always make sure you're following us on social media. You can see the handles scrolling across the bottom. We're also on Facebook. That way you guys know. I always tweet out. I let you know. I try to mention it in videos, other live streams. But it's Gator Hater Week. We had to go live. Let's run down the chat, see who is hanging out with us on this Monday morning. We got Robert McGee in the house. Good morning, Vol Nation. It's great to be at Tennessee Vol. I'm warming up the grill for some Gator meat. Love to see it. Randall Fleming is in the house. What is up, Randall? Crazy Nugs is here. Crazy Nugs, I feel like we were just talking, I don't know, about 12 hours ago. I guess it's because we were. Robert Tyndall's in the house. What's up, Robert? Good to see you. William Bozarth is here. Robert Tuck's in the house. What's up, Robert? Sam Hyatt is here. Who else we got? Toby Gilliland is in the house. Rocky Top Dad is here. Gary Smith. What's up, Gary? He's cautiously optimistic. I feel like that's where we are at as a fan base. Crazy Nug says the X Factor is here. Yeah, Xavier, man. He's my wingman. He messaged me last night. He's like, hey, you need a wingman? I will be there. So appreciate Xavier hanging out with us. Tyler Adams for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Nice national coverage is completely on us this week. We got to handle business. Yeah, when game day's there, you always watch game day, sometimes kind of in fast forward, waiting to see if they talk about Tennessee. But when they're in Knoxville, the focal point is going to be Tennessee, and they're going to be talking about how big this game is. But, yeah, the national media is watching, but that's where this program is at right now. When you're ranked 11th as Tennessee, they're going to be talking about you. And the question is, how good is this football team? Because you look, they beat Ball State, they beat Akron, they beat a pretty good Pitt team on the road. We're going to find out Saturday against Florida just how good they are. Wade Rouse for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Last time we won was September 24th, 2016. College game day was there. CBS game, Checker Neyland. This lines up just right. Yeah, it just seems like history. It feels like the perfect storm to turn this thing around. And we can talk about whether or not Tennessee is back. I don't think I'm ready to say they're back. What do you think about what does it take for Tennessee to be back? The thing is, we're trending in the right direction, but we've been here before, Xavier. We've been here before. What does it take to be back? And I think the definition is probably different for everybody.
Well, first, for us to be back, you have to beat Florida. I mean, because I think I said it last night in the chat, is that we should have been beating Florida for the past 2 to 3 years now. I mean, it's straight in a row. And I just kind of believe that after we beat Florida, then that's when you start getting into the Alabamas and the Georgias and stuff like that. But I think first you got to take care of Florida. And then the second is to, like I said, handle Georgia. And, of course, the big elephant in the room is to take on Bama. So, but, yeah, I feel like if we take down those 3 powerhouses, that's when I believe that Tennessee is actually officially back.
Well, again, it's Gator Hater Week. We're going to be breaking down – not really breaking down. We're going to jump into the Florida game, talk a little bit about that football team. But I want to go back and talk a little bit about Akron because Xavier wasn't here for the postgame, so I want to touch on that and kind of talk a little bit more about it. The postgame shows are always so chaotic, and then I do a short little 10-minute video the next day called The Day After. It's a little bit more dialed in, but I want to have a little bit of conversation about that Akron game. But first, we got 186 people watching live, and I know because I skipped last week, that throws some people off. They're like, is Boogie going to be live? Like, is the morning show gone? Is it coming back? What's the deal? A lot of speculation from you guys out there in the chat. What's Boogie up to around here? Do me a favor. Hit the thumbs up. couple of weeks ago on the Monday show, I really drove the shares, and you guys added like 50 to 60 subscribers in a matter of 30 minutes. That shows you the power. We're like 300 subscribers away from 15,000 subscribers. Let's get there before the Florida game. Let's get this channel to 15,000 by Florida. You can help. Just hit that share button down below. When you hit share, it pops up Facebook, Twitter. All you got to do is pick one, click it, boom, it's done, and come back and hang out. And let's talk a little football. Xavier, let's talk about the Akron game. Give me your quick thoughts, what you thought, start to finish, of that game. We knew, favored by 50, but still, what'd you like in that football game?
I like that the team cleaned up a couple of things on both sides of the ball. Like I said in my super chat, I like that we kind of got the run game kind of going just a little bit. Like I said, like I believe that Wright is like the better back. I mean, no offense to Jabari Small. It's just Wright's just more physical. Like he doesn't, he just doesn't care to get hit. He goes out and he takes care of his business. And then like Joe Milton in the second half, though, like man, he stole that halftime. Like he really did. The second quarter of the game, he stole it. But overall, man, like I said, defense did pretty good. Like I said, it was kind of vanilla, basic. I mean, we knew that was going to happen. But even still, they were still even getting after the quarterback for a vanilla defense like that. So, yeah, I mean, it kind of gives me a little bit more confidence going into Florida. I think we're going to dial up some more schemes for them. But, yeah, I think this team did pretty good. They cleaned up a couple of things. I mean, of course, there's still some things they got to work on, but I think they did pretty good.
One guy I'm extremely happy with is Jalen Hyatt, and he's a guy, talked a little bit about it last night. He's a guy that, it was all talk, and that's what it is during the post or during the offseason. It's talk. You hear the coaches say things, the players say things. You don't know what's real, what's coach speak, what's maybe motivation, right? And they talked about Jalen Hyatt doing things the right way. They talked about him coming to Velus Jones. We've all heard the stories of going to Velus Jones and saying, I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Help me get to your level. And he sat down with the media after the game. I've got a little clip here I want to play from Jalen Hyatt and talking about his relationship with Kelsey Pope. This is a great clip, and then we'll talk a little bit about what Jalen Hyatt's done so far this year.
Jalen Hyatt, so when you score a touchdown, you run over to Kelsey Pope, and he hugs you and daps you up and everything. Was that a planned thing? Where did that idea come from? Is he always like that?
I went straight to Pope because he was there last year when I was struggling, when I, felt like, things weren't going right for me for last year. And when he was here, as an analyst here, he was always there trying to help me get my confidence back, help me as far as with my game. And I'm really grateful for that guy. I love Coach Pope. I think he's the best receiver coach in the country. And, if anybody, as far as recruits, if you want to come to a program where you get the ball, you spread it out, this is the place for you. And like I said, Coach Pope, man, he did a lot for me. And my only thing, I was just trying to go to him because all the hard work he has done for me is starting to pay off, and I'm just grateful for him.
So many things from that clip I love. I've said it before. I think it takes a man to admit your mistakes and your faults. And then not only that, you can say, hey, I screwed up, but then for him to truly put in the work. And we're seeing it pay off on the field. I also love that he talks about, recruits. Hey, Carnell Tate, are you listening to what Jalen Hyatt is saying? And this is just further proof of what this coaching staff can do with wide receiver development, because we saw it with Cedric Tillman. Everybody knows the story. The kid had 8 catches in 3 years, blows up last year. He's already having success again this year. And then Velus Jones is a guy you could mention. We'll see what happens with Brew McCoy and his development. He's looked the part so far. But Jalen Hyatt this year, so year 2 in the Heupel system. Last year he had 21 catches for 226 yards and 2 touchdowns. This year, through just 3 games, Jalen Hyatt has 18 catches for 267 yards and 3 touchdowns. Already has more receiving yards, and he already has more touchdowns than he did a year ago. And I would imagine after this Florida game, he's going to have more receptions than he did just a year ago. Elijah in the chat says Jalen Hyatt had a breakout game this weekend, 100%. You may have even considered a breakout game last week against Pitt. What do you have, like 11, something ridiculous, like 11 catches last week. But what do you think about those comments? They're talking about Coach Pope. Again, a young, energetic guy that these kids clearly love.
Oh yeah, like I said, I was watching that interview too, and yeah, a lot of good things what he said. It just shows maturity, man. You know, like it shows maturity that, and then, like you said, Boog, he even admitted it that last season. He was like, I wasn't putting the time in, I wasn't committed to this, and then like I said, he talked to Poe, and then the biggest thing is he went up to Velus Jones last season, was like, hey yo, how do I become like you? I want to be better, and just like you. And, he put in the work in this offseason, and look, it's already just paying off. But yeah, with this Florida game coming up, I guess you can say, like I said, I guess we'll find out what's going on with Tillman, but definitely he's going to be targeted during this Florida game coming up for sure.
Yeah, curious to see how Tillman is, and I don't think we're going to know. I don't think we're going to know all week. Josh Heupel's not going to comment on it, so I don't really know that we'll know where Tillman's at, where Jabari Small's at, or where Dylan Sampson is at. Look, the running back position is a concern moving forward. If Dylan Sampson and Jabari Small are both beat up, then you're going to be seeing a whole lot of Jalen Wright. And even last week, Jalen Wright had 23 carries. 20, that's a lot of work for Jabari Small, Jalen Wright, that's a 1-2 punch. So Jalen Wright, Jabari Small may start, but you're going to lean on them both. That's a lot in a game where you won 63-6. To give Jalen Wright that much workload, especially leading into this game. I don't know how much this coaching staff trusts Justin Williams-Thomas at this point. And again, you're talking about a true freshman with a ton of potential. Oh, yeah. But you need more than two guys going into that Florida game. Hopefully Jabari Small's good.
Oh, yeah, like Justin Williams, because that's why I didn't know if he really got some playing time in the Akron game, because I seen that his name popped up on the screen, but then after, I guess he got pulled, and then that's when they put in Sampson, because I was just like, did he run any? I didn't really see him that quick. But, yeah, I think what it is that he still got some development to do, because I think I remember watching an interview saying that, like, he's still trying to learn a couple things of his routine, work on his craft a little bit. But, yeah, I mean, he's a kid going into, 23 that I'm really going to be excited to see.
MD Vols for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Morning, Boogie and Xavier. Can't wait to make the 12-hour drive down to watch my Vols whoop them Gators. Neyland will be insane on Saturday. GBO. Thank you for the super chat, MD Vols. Yeah, enjoy it, man. Enjoy that atmosphere. Is going to be something to remember. There's going to be so much to take part in on Saturday for that Florida game. The Vol walk for Akron was insane. Just orange everywhere, and it's Akron. And Neyland Stadium sold out. But with game day being there, gonna be just a great environment to go down, take a game. I keep laughing. The people on social media saying, don't take your kids because it's going to be a hostile environment. And I don't necessarily disagree with that. Let's talk about the defense. I'm excited about this Tennessee defense. And holy cow, did you ever expect to be saying that this year? But this defense is fun to watch. And you mentioned the word vanilla a little earlier, and it was compared to that Pitt game, but they still got after it. They got after the quarterback. They were aggressive. Tim Banks, I like the aggressiveness, and I hope we continue to see more of it. And also, you got a lot of young kids out there playing on Saturday against Akron. Who in the world, on your Vols bingo card, who in the world had Elijah Herring leading this team in sacks with 2 sacks through 3 games? Had two really nice plays, a lot of young talent out there. A lot of questions around Tim Banks, whether or not he was going to be successful. The last couple of weeks have excited me about this Tennessee defense.
Oh yeah, me too. And then like you said about these dialed up blitz plays, like I said, I love it because even in the offseason, I was kind of questioning. I always said, like, why are we not blitzing more? Like, because we always struggle trying to get after the quarterback. But honestly, this season, this defense has actually gotten after the quarterback. Even in Akron, against Akron, we seen that, we was roughing up their quarterback. So with Florida coming up this weekend, I really, even though if Anthony Richardson plays, I hope that, the game plan is to make it if he tries to beat us with his arm. Like, I would rather have him throw the ball more than make plays with his feet. But even if that doesn't even work, but yeah, just get after him. I mean, just take him to the ground,
Let's talk about one more thing about this Akron game. Then we'll put a big fat bow on Akron, and we're 100% moving in to this Florida game coming up on Saturday. Again, just going to be a huge atmosphere environment. But this tweet came out just recently, so I wanted to talk about it. Cedric Tillman, again, the ankle injury, twice he got beat up in that game. Goes out, comes out of the tent, says, I'm good to go, I'm fine. Tells his teammates, I'm ready, I'm good to go. But that's what all ballers do. And Jalen Hyatt was asked about that post-game too, and he's like, look, Cedric's a tough kid. Cedric's going to play if Cedric can play. They're going to have to keep him off the field. But we'll see how the injury plays out. Some of you guys asking in the chat any updates. We're not going to get an update on Tillman, Jabari Small, or Dylan Sampson. That's just not Josh Heupel's style, and I don't blame him. Don't let him know if Tillman's out. But he tweets out dirty, and, there was a lot of chippiness to that game. I felt like Akron was playing dirty. I feel like they took some cheap shots at Hendon Hooker. You agree with that, Xavier?
Yeah, I agree with that. Like I said, there was targeting calls. and especially with that hit with Tillman, tackling him, under his feet, and it's just unnecessary, I understand that, emotions are high and, you're getting beat, you're getting basically blown out by 60 points, but that doesn't mean you have to start playing dirty and, aiming at cheap shots and stuff like that. It's just like, just take the loss as a man and just go on, just play a fair game.
And all the chippiness, all the running of the mouth. Look, their quarterback, he did not stop running his mouth the entire game, so much so that Ben McKee of Go Vols 24/7 tweeted this out. Let me find it here. I got so many tabs open. He tweeted this out. This was after the game. As they're shaking hands. That quarterback is still looking for anybody in orange to run his mouth. You can see him. I'm going to hit play. I've got it muted because they're playing Rocky Top, and I don't want to get demonetized. But he's on the left of the screen here. As we hit play, you can see he's right here. Now watch him. He's looking for anybody in orange that he can get his hands on, that he can talk to, that he can look at him. Come over here. Let's go throw down. Let's go over here and throw down. And it's like, look at it. Somebody's trying to shake his hand. He's getting pushed off. You got the punter out there getting shoved around. It's just, I don't understand what the kid's problem was. And the commentary team, the announcers, look at this over here. We got people ready to go show him. You want to fight. There's some people out there that'll give you a fight. But I don't understand. You're losing. Like you said, you lost 63-6. At one point, I think they were down 50-some points, and he's still out there running that motor. And then you see this post-game have to be separated. And that led, ultimately, all the chippiness, the talking, led to this. And look, I am in no way validating what Jimmy Callaway did. But let's go back to the Ole Miss game last year, right? All the golf ball, the mustard bottles, everything being thrown on the field. You don't validate that, but at the end of the day, you look back and you understand why it happened. And it's kind of the same thing with Jimmy Callaway. You got to keep your emotions in check. You can't punch. And why are you punching a dude that still has his helmet on? That's a whole different conversation. But you understand why it got to that point. What do you think happens to Jimmy Callaway? I've not seen anything yet. He's going to be suspended. I don't know how many games. Or potentially, do you kick a kid off for punching somebody 5 times? 5 punches thrown right there.
Yeah, I'd say he'll be suspended for a couple of games. Because one thing that Josh Heupel did say, in his press conference was that he said that, Callaway did apologize to the whole team. And I'm pretty sure he came up to his coach and was like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm very disappointed in himself. And that's another thing too. It takes a man to really admit what you've done is wrong. That's going to hurt the team and will hurt the identity of the team, and to come out and apologize for it. He's definitely going to be suspended for a couple of games, but to kick him off the team completely, I don't think they probably will, but he'll definitely be suspended.
Yeah, he's gonna, and he's a guy that's been in the doghouse a lot anyway. So you just gotta, you can't do that. Like you said, and Heupel said it after the game. It takes away from everything else that happened that was good on Saturday night. Carl Borchers, I hate mispronouncing names, but I'm going to go with Borchers. Carl Borchers for 5. Thank you for the super chat. I was surprised to see Juwan Mitchell sliding over to the edge rusher several times, leaving Banks as the sole linebacker. Creative. I didn't really notice that. I've not rewatched the game. I watched the game once live, watched the Josh Heupel show. I didn't notice that. Did you notice that? And I don't know if he was just coming off the edge. I don't know if you really call him an edge rusher in that situation. If you've got BY out there and he comes out beside him, that's just a linebacker blitzing from the outside. But that's interesting, Carl. Thank you for the super chat. I'll definitely go back and look for that. Nate Pruitt for 5. Morning, Vols fan. Boogie making Mondays great again. Vols 35-21. Thank you, Nate, for the super chat. I'm glad you guys enjoy these Monday morning streams. So I'm just going to burn through the vacation time, and we'll hang out on Mondays. I enjoy it. Thank you for being here, Nate. Thank you for the super chat. Russell Moorfield for 10. Thank you for the super chat. Morning, y'all. Using that custom Talkin VAWLS Boogie emoji. We still got to get the Xavier emoji. We still got to get the X Factor emoji out there. I gotta get on my stepbrother. He's slacking. If you're listening, you're slacking. I don't think he's listening because he's slammed at work right now. So I'm trying not to put too much work on him because he does work for free around here. Set the 4 for $50. That ain't cheap. Xavier, what do we do?
Cheap.
What do we do?
Play the clip.
Now, me and Xavier, we were laughing off air because we're off air on StreamYard talking about how clean everything is. We're playing the clip. There's no glitches. Everything's clean. Everything's fine. We go live. Now, watch. Let's see if the clip locks up. Here we go. You got to play the clip. Thanks, Seth. Very generous super chat.
Money isn't everything. It's the only thing. And everyone has a price for the $1 Million Man.
Okay, wow, look, my stepbrother's in the chat. Go ahead, hey, Kevin, go ahead and screen cap. Look at this big, beautiful face. Look at that big, beautiful face. Go ahead and screen capture that right now with that big, cheesy grin. Got the headset on. Now that I put him on blast while he's in the chat, your emoji will probably be done before we go off air. That's 1 in a million. You love. What are you doing, Slacker? You're supposed to be working. That's hilarious. That's too good. That's too good.
He said always lurking.
Always lurking. That's hilarious. Hilarious. Set the 4 for $50. Appreciate the super chat. Very generous. Says about to go into an eye appointment, so I missed the live for a while. Akron, we did what we were supposed to do. Milton is QB1 next year. I'm still shy to be confident with Florida. Elijah Herring, Sampson are our future leaders until Nico gets set. So a lot to unpack there. That's a very good super chat. Thank you, Seth. We appreciate the support there. I think you're in agreement with me. Joe Milton is quarterback 1 next year, hands down. Agree, disagree?
Oh yeah, I agree. Like I said, like that second half of the game, dude, it's like, I mean, he stole the show. Like I said, Joe Milton, like I said, I think that he worked on his craft a little bit, his little touch on the ball. It was really good. And then, like I said, and also Keaton. Keaton is going to be a really good wide receiver too going to next season. I don't know how he'll be, like I said, wise, but hey, Keaton's going to be he's going to be a star.
I hope so. I feel like he's been a guy that we just keep waiting to bust out. And, talking about Jalen Hyatt and what he's done, talking about Cedric Tillman, what he's done. What is Ramel Keaton waiting on? Take that step. But you've got some young wide receivers in this group too, man. You got a lot of young guys out there that are making plays. Walker Merrill had a touchdown catch. I think he has 2 touchdown catches on the season. We saw Squirrel White go and make a play. They've got some young wide receivers on this football team that I think are going to be key contributors next year. You're losing a lot. You are losing a lot off of this football team offensively and defensively. I mean, look at the production alone with Hendon Hooker and Cedric Tillman. That's a lot of production, a lot of chemistry. We talked about the number of targets that he had in that Pitt game. I mean, Hendon Hooker was just feeding him the rock. And after the game, they just kind of talked about it's that confidence level. And look, it worked. Tillman had some drops. It is what it is. It's football. It's going to happen. But when the game's on the line, when you're in overtime, Hendon Hooker knows I'm just going to throw it up, and Cedric Tillman's going to go up and body somebody and pull down the touchdown and win the football game. And that's exactly what happened. But you're losing a lot of production. But I'm excited. What a great redemption story if Hendon Hooker starts next year. I mean, if Joe Milton starts next year and has success, and you let Nico sit a year. And I know if Milton goes out and misses a few guys or he throws an interception, the chatter is going to start for Nico. But it's the perfect storm is for him to sit a year. We got almost 300 people watching live on this Monday morning stream. Appreciate you guys choosing me and the old X Factor to hang out with on this morning show. Do us a favor. If you haven't done it, hit that thumbs up. Also, hit that share button. I want to get to 15,000 subscribers by the Florida game, and the only way we can make that happen is you guys. So if you share this stream, just hit share right now. Look, it's shill time. It's promotion time. It's going to be a couple of minutes of shills and promotions. So hit share. You don't have to listen to me talk. Hit share. Blast it out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Call up your uncle, your aunt. Tell somebody about us. Go create a fake account while Boogie shills, and let's get this thing to 15,000 subscribers. But I just want to take time to show off the merchandise. Go pick it up. You can go to bonfire.com/store YouTube.com/Talkin VAWLS. My stepbrother in the chat that I was burying a second ago, and then he's listening and hears it all. He is the one that designs all of this stuff. The mustard-themed shirts, you can check those out. Talkin VAWLS Elite. If you know, you know. You can come hang out while we play NCAA, and we'll talk for 3 hours about Tennessee football. Maybe we'll talk about pizza joints. You never know. Look, we're going to repeat 2016. We're going to start this season 5-0, and if we're 5-0 and Bama comes to town, you want to be repping that Beat Bama shirt inside of Neyland Stadium. We've also got Beat Florida, Beat Bama, and then let everybody know that we are Kentucky's daddy. But again, bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. Appreciate the support you guys show this channel. Whether you drop super chats, whether you are a member of the channel, or whether you just hang out and listen to the shows, regardless, no matter what, we appreciate the support. Thank you guys for choosing this channel to hang out and talk Tennessee football. We appreciate it. Thank you, Dakota, for dropping that link in the merch. Let's talk about this real quick. We're gonna talk about Florida. But Donovan says he would love to see Squirrel White back at punt returner because he's fast and shifty. Yeah, like, he looked good. When he made that play, he got upfield. He made guys miss. He was electric. And we talked about this in the past, but do you think that Trayvon Flowers is in there because of something they're seeing in practice? Maybe Squirrel is putting the ball on the ground. You know, we saw Trayvon Flowers with the fumble against Pitt. That could have cost Tennessee the ball game, but maybe they're seeing something different in practice with ball security.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, Flowers, he's just that kind of guy that just, I don't know if I really would trust him on a punt like that. But Squirrel White, yeah, Squirrel looked really, really good. But yeah, I'm thinking it's something that the coaches see don't. And again, like I said, I mean, we're not experts. We don't see. You know, and I think also too, like my buddy was talking about it, you know, this Akron game. Since that, I think is Flowers a senior? I'm pretty sure he's a senior.
Yeah.
I think it's like he's got like that seniority, you know what I'm saying? That he's a senior and we kind of trust him a little bit more. So it could be one of those deals too.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of trust because he is a senior upperclassman. Let's move in. Xavier is gone. Xavier has gone. He's left the building. He was having some internet issues there, so I think that's probably what happened. Let's talk about this Florida game. We'll see if Xavier gets everything cleared up and comes back in. But again, we've laid it out at the top of the show. It's just going to be a huge game, absolutely huge game coming up on Saturday. And when you look on paper, when you look at analytics, numbers, predictions, again, Tennessee favored by almost, I think, 9.5, almost 10 points against the Gators. And we just look at history. And battered Vol syndrome is real. It is a real thing. Battered Vol syndrome is for real. But you look at paper. You look at what should happen. What should happen versus what will happen on Saturday. A lot of us expect to lose. A lot of us say we'll believe it when we see it. We just don't have the confidence. But you go to ESPN and you look at the FPI, and you can see they are predicting Tennessee at 87.4%. That's right up there with Vegas thinks Tennessee is going to win this game. And you could say, well, who cares? That they also said this was going to happen or that was going to happen. Obviously, it's not 100%. It's a prediction. But, Xavier, that prediction, the ESPN FPI is around 75-76% accurate. What's the difference between reality and battered Vol syndrome?
Yeah, like I said, looking at, I mean, it looks good, but I gotta see it to believe it. And like, depending on how this team comes out in the first quarter. Yeah, Ball syndrome is just like, you know, is it gonna be the same song? I don't.
Xavier is having major internet lag. Xavier, you can try if you want to try to reboot your router and jump back on. That's cool. If not, I can fly solo, but it's breaking up really bad. So we'll see if you can jump back on. If not, it's good. I can fly solo. But you know, the problem is how many times throughout that 17-year run where Tennessee won one single football game, in 17 years. How many times throughout the course of history did Tennessee have the better football team? They had the better football team. They had more talent. We expected to win. And this Florida football team, they still have talent. They've got a lot of talent on that Florida team. But I think I think Donovan saying zoom in on stats. Let me zoom in on the stats so you can see it. That's there we go. He wants to see Richardson's stats. 41 of 77, 423 yards and 4 touchdowns. Yeah, Joe Milton. Joe Milton has more touchdowns. Our backup quarterback, Taven Jackson. Didn't Taven Jackson throw a touchdown on Saturday? Definitely have. Do we have the best quarterback room in the country? Do we? I mean, possibly. You know, I was talking about the wide receivers earlier. I feel like we have the best top 3. Like, top 3. Maybe there's a deeper wide receiver room. But when you look at our top 3 wide receivers, Cedric Tillman, Brew McCoy, and Jalen Hyatt, I don't see a better wide receiver group in the country. I don't. Top 3? Top 3? I don't see it. Chris Bradley says that's 4 interceptions. Yeah. He's not thrown a touchdown pass yet. We're 3 games into the season, and AR has not thrown a touchdown yet. He has more tackles than he does touchdown passes. He has 3 or 4 tackles on the season and not a single touchdown. Now, what does that mean? What does that mean as they take on Tennessee on Saturday? I was listening to VolQuest last night, and they had a writer, a Florida beat writer, on, and he was talking about this Florida football team. And one of the things he talked about was that Richardson got hit early in the Kentucky game, and he doesn't really think he has been the same since then, that he doesn't have the confidence to go and run the football. I don't know if that's the case or not. But that's definitely a good thing in Tennessee's favor. If Richardson doesn't feel comfortable running the football, and we saw what he did against Utah. His numbers running the football against Utah were pretty good. He had some big plays running the ball against Utah. He's got 24 carries for 134 yards and 3 touchdowns running the ball, but the majority of that 134 yards came against that Utah team. A team that was puking on the sidelines, a team that was not ready for the heat. That's another factor. Florida's played at home all 3 games. They could be 0-3 right now, guys. And what I'm laying out is every reason why that we as Tennessee fans should believe that Tennessee is going to go win this football game. But battered ball syndrome is real. But Richardson has played at home 3 games in a row. They could be 0-3. And you can say what you want about Utah. I don't think Utah is the 7th-ranked team in the country. I don't believe that for a second. But I don't think they're a scrub. They're not a Ball State. They're not an Akron. Then Kentucky comes to town. Florida gets beat. I think Kentucky's a pretty good football team. That game is circled on my calendar. That's a very interesting game coming up against Kentucky later in the year. X Factor's back in the house. We'll see.
All right. We're good to go now.
You got a little echo. Let me edit this real quick. All right.
Good?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, good.
That Kentucky game coming up is huge. That's a huge. I think Kentucky's a good football team. But then South Florida ran all over Florida. I think over 200 yards on the ground against the Gators last week. And South Florida should have won that game. They had the lead late. Got the interception in the end zone and couldn't capitalize. Had an opportunity late to kick a field goal, couldn't capitalize. You snap it low, rolls around behind the quarterback, you got to fall on it. You lose a lot of yardage, ends up costing you. You miss the field goal. But Florida, realistically, could be 0-3 going into this game. If Richardson is beat up, if he's truly banged up, that's going to be huge for Tennessee. Another opportunity for Tennessee, the Florida linebacker, Ventrell Miller, likely to be out. And again, listening to VolQuest last night, listening to the beat writer for Florida talk about that football team. And Miller is the focal point for that defense. He is the leader of that defense. And now you've got a freshman linebacker out there, and you've also got a redshirt freshman linebacker out there. So Florida has some holes. Florida has some holes on that defense. But, Xavier, we've struggled to run the football. Tennessee has struggled to run the football against a front like Pitt. And I don't even think they had as much success as I wanted against Akron. But if there's some holes in Florida, how important is the run game. At one point in history, it was the big narrative was always whoever runs for more yards is going to win the game. Is that going to be the case on Saturday? How important is the run game on Saturday?
It's very important. And like I said, yeah, Florida, they do have some questions. But this would be huge for us if Anthony Richardson is out and they have to bring in the backup. And then of course they have to fill in some holes on their side of the ball as well. But yeah, this is going to be major key. And who knows? I think maybe Josh Heupel and this team may be planning on running the ball against Florida. And I'm all for it. Like I said, I'd rather just run the ball down their throats anyway, instead of just, showing a lot of, schemes and routes that we have planned for them. Because it's funny because my buddy and I was talking about that. We was talking like with that Akron game, how we were just running the ball against them and not really showing a lot of our schemes for Florida. You know what I'm saying? Just like, with that scramble play with Sampson, with that little pitch. That kind of tells me something that they got something planned up for Florida. So.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with that because when they ran it once, I was like, all right, they're showing a little something for Florida. They're setting something up. Then they ran it a second time, and I was like, all right, they're definitely setting something up off of that speed option with Dylan Sampson, whether that's a fake and then they try to take a deep shot. There's something there. There's something there with that play that I like. Let me hit this super chat. Robert Tuck for 2. Thank you for that. Boogie, I want to believe, but my battered Vol syndrome is real. I'm the same way. And, right now I have this weird confidence. I really do. And a lot of it is I'm like, all right, here's the reasons why that Tennessee should win this game. But then it creeps up in the back of my mind. I'm like, history says that they're not going to win this game. Crazy Nugs for 2. Thank you for the super chat. Says, we believe. Do we? Do we believe? I think most of this fan base does, Xavier.
It's the Vol syndrome, man. Like I said, it's the Vol syndrome. But like I said, though, I mean, if you go back and look at the coaches that we have going up against Florida, like I give him a little bit of props, Butch Jones. We thought he was going to be the guy to lead us to the promised land, but obviously he folded in the end, and that's fine. But if you look at, like what Cornbread did, like he didn't get us there. Lane Kiffin, I mean, I understand, his ordeal too. But it's just that with Josh Heupel, like, I really feel like it's something different with him. Like I said, he wants to come in, he wants to win. And, he's even said it in his press conference that he said, look, I've been on, both sides of this football. So I've been on as a player and now I'm here as a coach. So he says, yeah, it's like I'm here to compete, to win games. So I believe that, something's different this year with Josh Heupel. I think that this Saturday he's going to go out, he's going to have a big speech for the team, and he's going to tell these guys that, look, let's go out there and win.
So they go out and take care of business on Saturday. How insane and unbearable is this fan base going to be? Because they got a bye week the next week. They got an extra week to prep to go on the road and play LSU. And, I know it's football lingo. It is what it is. We do it all the time. We did it with Pitt. That Pitt game was the biggest game of the year. You got to beat Pitt. Now it's Florida. But Florida does mean more. If they had lost to Pitt and then bounced back and beat Florida, you still talk about SEC, conference play, all that stuff. But the reality is that Pitt game was huge. And again, I'm talking trajectory of the program. But now it's Florida. But they find a way. Let's say what you said happens. Josh Heupel comes in, gives the locker room speech of a lifetime, and then they go out and take care of business and beat Florida. That LSU game is enormous. It's enormous because right now Tennessee's ranked 11th. And I know rankings don't matter. If you win, it's going to take care of itself. But it's been a long time since we've seen that little number beside our name on game day. And it feels good. It feels good to be ranked up there at 11th. They go beat Florida. They're going to jump in the top 10. Then you go on the road and beat LSU, you're going to jump even more. What kind of matchup is it going to be when Alabama comes to town? And that's where you start to talk about, are we back? If you beat Florida and you go beat LSU on the road and Alabama comes to town and they're ranked, say, number 2, and Tennessee's ranked in the top 7, 6, 7, 8, somewhere around there, that, my friend, that is the type of matchup where you talk about being back.
Oh yeah, like I said, it's going to be very, very exciting. But like I said, I guess with Bama and Georgia, I still kind of don't see it. That's why I said that we're not
it's like what you said, Boog. I don't think we're back just yet because, like I said, we all know how Alabama is. We all know how Georgia is. Um, so like I said, but like I said, we're going into Alabama 5-0. I mean, that's going to be huge. That's going to be huge. Neyland is definitely going to be rocking, and then we'll definitely see the outcome of that game too. Because honestly, looking at Alabama, I mean, they're still Bama, but there's a little bit of question marks around them as well. So, but when that game comes, we'll find out more what's going to happen.
Yeah, Bama's definitely beatable, and I think the key for being back is competing with Alabama. You don't have to go beat Alabama in year 2. That's the thing. But everybody in this fan base is going to be expecting to go beat Alabama. If Tennessee's 5-0 and they're ranked in the top 10, they are going to – Neyland Stadium is going to be insane. And I know somebody in the chat, we got to calm down, take it one day at a time. No, we're getting fired up because it's freaking Florida week. Let's go take care of business. Let's go beat Florida in the ground. Let's go show them that we're the better team. There's a reason that Tennessee's favored by almost 10 points. There's a reason the ESPN FBI has them at like 80%, 85% chance of winning. It's because Tennessee's got better players. Tennessee's got better coaches. It's in Neyland Stadium. It's going to be hostile. It's going to be checkered. We're going to wear smoky grays. Let's go freaking do what we are supposed to do and beat them in the ground and keep that momentum. And then let's go take 2 weeks to prepare for LSU. Let's make more of them take their LSU stuff off of Twitter. Let's make Brian Kelly blame everybody. Let's have more reporters tell Brian Kelly, if you would win, we would show up on time. Let's burn LSU to the ground. Let's burn Florida to the ground. Let's burn Alabama to the ground. Let's show people who and what Tennessee is all about, and it starts on Saturday with Florida Xavier. Where's the Tylenol? I've got a headache.
Hey, preach it, my man.
Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, preach it to the choir. I love it, man. Because and people forget too, like Boog, how you and Dauber, and I dare say it, the old heads, like you guys experienced the glory days of Tennessee, and people got to remember too is that back in those days we were considered like Alabama. Those were the dynasty good days of Tennessee football. And that's why, like, even for me, like I said, 27 years old, I want to see that, man. You know what I'm saying? And everybody forgets, the glorified history of this program. And, that's why that everybody roots for Tennessee to lose and this is and that and blah, blah, blah and stuff like that. No, like, we need to prove to the world that, like, look, we've always been a top 15, top 20 school. And we just got to go out there and take care of business with Florida. And then, like you said, Bud, then take care of the Georgias, the Alabamas, and everything else. Like I said, it's time. It is time. I'm tired of being the laughing stock of the SEC. It's just time to handle business and get back on top.
It's why this game on Saturday is so crucial. It is so crucial because we've been here time and time again in disappointment after disappointment. And people, the younger generation of fans, like you just touched on there, they don't know, man. They don't understand. And that's why battered Vol syndrome is real, because you've got these young fans that have never experienced success, and then you've got people my age that lived through the 90s, and you didn't lose to teams like South Carolina. You didn't lose to teams like Kentucky and Vanderbilt. And now, people want to say, well, look at the last 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is. There's all these different streaks and numbers and splitting games with Vanderbilt and Kentucky. It's embarrassing, man. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
I was at the game when Jay Cutler and Vanderbilt beat Tennessee inside of Neyland State. I was there with Snake, and we just stood there. After the game was over, we just stood there looking at an empty field like, what the hell just happened? Like, what? We don't lose to Vanderbilt. And it's like,
No.
that shock of what is happening right now is almost gone. Like, it disappeared, and it's like, well, I'm not even surprised anymore. Like, of course we split with Vanderbilt. Of course we struggle with Kentucky. That's not the way it was back in the 90s. And it's almost odd, man, to see in year 2. And that's what sometimes gets lost. It's like we've almost forgot where we were when Josh Heupel was hired. Like, we're talking 5, 6, 7 year rebuild to be competitive. And in year 2, he's got me giving come to Jesus meetings and breaking my finger on my desk because I'm so fired up because it feels like we're so freaking close, man. We're so close to being back and being competitive. And it's almost odd to be playing the defending ACC champs on the road and be favored by a touchdown. And then 2 weeks later, Florida comes to town and you're favored by almost 10. It almost feels eerie that it's been this fast.
Oh yeah, and like I said, you got ESPN coming to look at us too. Like I said, it's very big because when's the last time that ESPN has ever mentioned Tennessee on their network? When's the last time?
Yeah, no. You quit watching Game Day because they're not going to talk about Tennessee.
Right, exactly. So, and that's really big for them too to come and watch us take down Florida. It's huge. That's why, like I said, it is time. It's time to rise out of the ashes. And it's time to let the nation know. It's like, look, Tennessee has always been here. It's still going to be here. So, like I said, our time is coming. Our time is coming.
Will be in the chat says, when is the real test for this team? I think that's Saturday. That's a real test. And it again, on paper and all the numbers, Tennessee may be favored, but the reality is you've got to take care of business. You got to go beat Florida. That's when the first test starts. It's conference play. It counts. It just it just means more because it's the SEC. It does just mean more. It starts on Saturday, and guess what? If they go beat Florida, we'll be right here on the postgame show, celebrating, having a good time, and we'll be talking about LSU and how that game is now the most important, and how you've got to go on the road in a hostile environment. Neyland Stadium's going to be nuts on Saturday. It's going to be absolute insanity. It may rival the Oklahoma game that everybody talks about. It may rival the Ole Miss game from last year. It's an exciting week, and that's why we're bringing you guys tons of content this week. The morning show with Xavier, ready to roll. Let's do this thing. Tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, Eric Kane from ballquest.com is going to come on with me at 9 o'clock for about 20, 30 minutes. Then we're going to open it up for a fan call-in show. You guys get to come on, and you guys get to go nuts. Maybe one of you will give a big speech and break your – I really think I may have broke my finger slamming it on the table. One of you guys can go nuts. And then Wednesday, the regular 7 o'clock show. Thursday, Friday, videos coming your way. Saturday, definitely going to be a tailgate show. We're going to have a tailgate show an hour before kickoff. We'll go live at 2:30. Again, another fan call-in show. Get you guys on, get you guys fired up and talking. Then we're going to do a live post-game show, and it's going to be absolute, complete insanity if Tennessee goes and takes care of it. This fan base is just foaming at the mouth, and we saw a piece of that last year before the Ole Miss game. That week leading up to that game felt like the old days. It felt like the 90s when Tennessee was dominant. Carl Borchers, I probably keep botching your name. Just let me know if I am. For a $10 super chat, appreciate that, Carl. Danny White is special. He gives hyper confidence and job security. This gives the players confidence and stability. White deserves a lot of credit. Also, he brought the letters back, VOLS. Yeah, man, Danny White, and not just Danny White, but Donnie Plowman, the entire administration is in alignment. And you saw a shift. And again, it was rock bottom. It was rock bottom when Jeremy Pruitt was fired. Everything with Fulmer, just a disaster. And then you kind of just cleaned house. And, I said sometimes in life, man, when people go through rough times, sometimes you got to hit rock bottom. And I know that's cliche. Like, it's cliche to say it. Sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to start building yourself back up. And it almost felt like this endless cycle with Tennessee that we talked about, the coaching carousel, everybody comes in, you believe, you buy in, then they fail, they get fired. We were at rock bottom. You cleaned house. You brought in Danny White, and that dude's a visionary. Like, I love that he holds true to tradition, but he's also innovative, and you're seeing that in the little decisions that he made, like bringing the letters back. That's old school, man. People like me were excited about bringing those letters back. But then on the flip side, you got him adding a party deck. And a lot of young kids are like, that's cool, man. That's something different. The light shows, the different things that he does. But he's created all this buzz. And sure, when you have success on the field, it helps kind of take care of itself. But it's big to sell out Akron, Xavier. It's not a big deal to sell out Ole Miss when they're a top 10, top 15 team and Lane Kiffin's coming back. It's not a big deal to sell out Florida when it's number 11 versus number 20. But selling out an Akron game at 7 o'clock at night is a pretty big deal.
Oh, yeah. Like me and my buddy was just talking about it, during the game. He came over to watch the game with me. And like at first when I heard it was sold out, me and him was thinking like, oh, everybody just bought up all the tickets and is trying to resell them, and we thought most people wasn't going to show up. Well, when they when they showed Neyland Stadium on camera on TV, I was like, holy cow! Like there's people that actually showed up. Like it's crazy, man. Like I said, but it also shows that we're trending in the right direction, and it shows that, like I said, this fan base is coming back. Because looking at, like I said, from this last season, with the Pruitt era and stuff like that, like, I mean, we was all divided. We was all divided. We just didn't care. I mean, but now it feels like I said, we're trending in the right direction.
Which is amazing. Again, just the time frame, man. The time frame of where we were to where we are. And look, I'm not dumb. I'm not naive. The transfer portal plays a part in that. It does.
It does.
Look at Brew McCoy, Javonte Payton, Velus Jones, Jawan Mitchell. They've added a lot. And that's why I'm excited about the future and keep talking about the importance of Saturday and the importance of the schedule moving forward. Because if you continue that momentum, not only are you going to have success on the recruiting trail in the class of 23, I think you're going to see some guys flip. Carnell Tate, Francis Mount-Goa. You're going to see guys flip. You are. You're going to see it happen. And you're going to see some guys start to kind of come out of nowhere as their senior season plays out. That's the thing about high school kids. There's a big difference between a junior and a senior. Now, some of these ballers like Nico, some of these elite players, they're going to be highly rated, highly ranked, and heavily recruited. But some of these juniors, there's a big shift between the junior, then they go through their senior season right now. And these guys are going to kind of come out of nowhere, and we'll see how that class of 23 plays out. But I'm excited about the portal if you continue to have success. Dylan Henry for 5. Thank you for the super chat. Is this supposed to be see, like my mind says like Tennessee, but it's Tennessee. Is that some accent? Is that Tennessee traveler? Thank you for the $10. Remember 92. Stomp a mud hole in them. That's what I want, man. Xavier, I want a beat down. I don't even want it to be in question. I want to run. I saw a Florida fan. Somebody like a media person tweeted out, that after the rankings came out, number 11 Tennessee will take on number 20 Florida, blah, blah, blah. Florida survived. And some Florida fan commented and said, y'all, Tennessee's about to take out 15 years of frustration on us. We're in trouble. I think their fan base is scared. I do.
Oh yeah, for once, like I said, because like you said, but every year, Florida mocks us and they go like, oh, well, we've owned y'all for the past, 15, 16 years, how long it's been. But I think this year something's gonna say like, look, they probably don't even want to come into Neyland Stadium. Yeah, like you said, I think their fan base is scared. They probably don't even want to step foot into Neyland Stadium. But like I said, it's time. It's time to beat Florida. It's time to move on, get past that hump, and it's time to start competing with the Georgias and the Alabamas. Because honestly, this Tennessee football program should have been doing that the previous 2 or 3 years ago.
One last question, then we're going to get out the door here. I've got a couple of minutes left, and I got to go jump on with Eric Kane. I'll let you guys know. Not sure when that episode's going to drop, but I'll let you guys know when I'll be on Locked On Vols again. It'll be sometime this week. I'll let you guys know. And then he's going to be on again, I believe, Tuesday night. I'll firm up with him here in just a few minutes. But I see some people there in the chat talking about it. Again, College Game Day, Checker Neyland, the atmosphere is going to be amazing. Who would you roll with? Who would you roll out there for the celebrity guest picker on game day? They always, I see a lot of people, Kenny Chesney. No, get that dude. No, not Kenny Chesney. They're mentioning is Morgan Wallen? Is that a country singer? I don't know. I don't know anything about.
He's a country singer.
I don't know anything about him. Who would you roll out there for the celebrity guest picker?
Oh man, like I said, I'm not sure. You know what? Honestly, I'd be very surprised if Tim Tebow actually shows up for this Florida game. Like Tim Tebow, Peyton Manning. That'd be pretty interesting to see those two there.
I agree with I've seen a lot of people saying that. Dolly Parton, they want Dolly Parton. There's only one answer. And, this is a good one, too. The Bateman TV, Bill Dance. I love Bill Dance is great. That'd be a great one out there with his Tennessee hat on. But there's only one right answer, and that's this one from Chris Bradley. Tony Vitello. Tony Vitello is the perfect guy. Look, I've even got my Tennessee baseball shirt on again. Like, it's Florida week. Everybody's hyped, and I'm wearing baseball merch because that's what Tony Vitello has done for that baseball program. And he's got so much charisma. Like, he's just the perfect guy to go out there. I would not be surprised at all if that's who it ends up being, is Tony V. But, man, I want Josh Heupel to be to football what Tony Vitello is to baseball. And what those guys do, and even Rick Barnes has done it. Rick Barnes, Vitello, they come in with less talent and do more, and then the recruits start to come. Every baseball player in the country is coming to Tennessee. And you see it in Little League, like the Little League World Series. And it's kind of like you talked about the young people that don't have a clue that, Tennessee football was successful. It's the same thing. Now all of a sudden these kids in the Little League World Series out there doing the Drew Gilbert. They're out there, who's their favorite baseball team? Tennessee, favorite baseball player, Drew Gilbert. That's what I want Josh Heupel to do for this football program.
And also, too, because Leah, she was in the chat last night, the elite chat, like I said, for the Lady Vols, too. Like I said, look, like Pat Summitt, the legendary Pat Summitt, God rest her soul. And also, Candace Parker, too, you know what I'm saying? Because she's, because I know you said I'm a big basketball guy, too, like that. But, yeah, every once in a while, I'll keep my eyes on the Lady Vols, too. But, yeah, I mean, honestly, that's another celebrity I'd like to come to the game, too, is Candace Parker, I think it'd be really, really great to see her there.
I like what they're doing with the Pat Summitt Blue with the Lady Vols. I wouldn't mind seeing something like that float around other places. I know people are like, no, we're not wearing baby blue football uniforms, but I think it's a nice touch for basketball. We're an hour into this thing. We're gonna wrap it up. Just a reminder, got tons of content coming your way this week. Don't forget, Tuesday night, 9 p.m. late night Talkin VAWLS tomorrow night. Come hang out. The fan call-in show is always a blast. We're really gonna go late. If Eric Kane comes on, we'll give you an extra hour or so for you guys to come on. Wednesday night, 7 p.m. Tons of videos coming your way. Dropped a couple of videos yesterday. If you've not watched them, go back and watch them. I'm trying to do that, emotional reactions around the SEC, and just kind of break down the scoreboard and what I thought of the games that I watched and different things. Go check that out. That was a pretty good one. And also the day after, my thoughts on the Tennessee-Akron game. Appreciate all the support. Like I said, we're right around the corner from 15,000 subscribers. There's 300 people watching right now. If you've got a Twitter account, go to Twitter and just retweet this live stream that we were live. Go retweet it. Post it on Facebook. Let people know. There is strength in numbers. Word of mouth is the best way to grow this thing. So we count on you guys. If you share it, let somebody know. We would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you to the new members of the channel. If you want to join the fan call-in show tomorrow night at 9 o'clock, you've got to be a member of the channel, so make sure you hit that join button down below. It's right beside subscribe, or there's also a link in the description. If you've got an iPhone or Apple product, you got to go that route. But hope to see you guys on the fan call-in show tomorrow. But that is going to do it for this one. Shout out to Xavier for jumping on, being my wingman. My name is Boogie Bentley. Let's go beat the Gators. Go Big Orange.
That we call home.